Most people think the Great Sphinx is hiding its biggest secret underground, a buried chamber, a forbidden vault, a sealed archive from a lost age. But the first real clue was never under the sand at all. It was carved in plain sight, between the Sphinx's paws, in hieroglyphs so famous that millions of visitors walk past them without realizing they may be looking at the moment this monument was transformed from silent stone into a political weapon, a divine promise, and one of history's most powerful mysteries. And once you see what those inscriptions actually say, the story gets far stranger than the internet version. Because the hieroglyphs do not begin with treasure. They begin with a dream. A young prince, one who was not yet firmly secure on the throne, falls asleep in the shadow of the Sphinx at the hottest point of the day. In that dream, the god identified with the Sphinx speaks to him and makes an offer. Clear away the sand, burying this sacred being, and kingship will be yours. That prince becomes Thutmose IV. And from that moment on, the Sphinx is no longer just a colossal statue weathering in the desert. It becomes a witness, a legitimizer, and maybe the most intimidating royal endorsement in Egyptian history. Now here's the part that changes everything. The dream. Stela implies the Sphinx was already deeply buried in Thutmose IV's time. Not just dusty, not half-covered. Buried enough that the head was visible while much of the body and paws were swallowed by sand. So if later generations believed there were secrets beneath it, you can understand why. Imagine standing in ancient Giza, seeing only that enormous human face rising from the desert, knowing a gigantic lion body was hidden below, and then reading an inscription that says a god spoke from that buried monument and made kings. That is exactly the kind of setting where myth begins to feel like evidence. And this is where the title of our mystery starts to split in two. On one side, there's the viral version. Hieroglyphs reveal hidden chambers beneath the Sphinx, where pharaohs sealed unimaginable things forever. On the other side, there's the historical version. The hieroglyphs reveal why rulers kept returning to this monument, why they restored it, why they wrapped it in sacred meaning, and why later people became convinced that something extraordinary had to be hidden below. The real question isn't just, is there a chamber? The real question is, why did so many people across centuries become desperate to believe there was one? So, let's strip away the clickbait and follow the evidence exactly where it leads. The Sphinx is generally attributed by mainstream Egyptology to the reign of Khafre in the Old Kingdom, around 2600 BC, and researchers like Mark Lehner argue that it was part of a much larger ritual landscape tied to kingship, solar power, resurrection, and the surrounding pyramid temple complex. In other words, the Sphinx was never an isolated riddle sitting alone in the sand. It was part of a giant sacred machine designed to project royal power beyond death. If that sounds less exciting than hidden treasure, wait, because that cosmic design may be the real sealed thing the pharaohs left behind. Think about that for a second and tell me in the comments, if you had stood in front of the half-buried Sphinx in the ancient world and read that promise of kingship, would you have taken it as a message from a god or as the most brilliant piece of royal propaganda ever carved into stone? Because the Dream Stela doesn't simply describe a restoration project, it stages a transfer of authority. The buried Sphinx, identified with solar divinity, chooses the future king. That means the hieroglyphs are not a map in the modern sense. They are a script of legitimacy. But over time, a monument tied so directly to divine kingship, half buried in sand, surrounded by colossal temples, naturally became a magnet for speculation. If a god could speak from it, what else might be inside it? If the desert kept swallowing it, what else had the desert hidden with it? And if pharaohs cared enough to restore it, what were they protecting? Stone, ideology, or something literally sealed in the earth? That speculation exploded in the modern era. Treasure legends, occult theories, and the famous Hall of Records story pushed the idea that beneath the Sphinx there must be a hidden library, a lost archive, maybe even knowledge preserved from a civilization older than dynastic Egypt. It's the perfect myth, a guardian monument, a buried body, ancient inscriptions, unexplored bedrock, and a promise that history's greatest secrets are still physically there, waiting for one drill bit or one earthquake to expose them.
The only problem is that archaeology, when it actually checked, told a very different story.
In 1977, researchers working with remote sensing equipment examined the bedrock under the Sphinx to test exactly those kinds of claims. And what they found was not an Atlantean archive, not a royal vault, not a neatly carved hidden chamber. According to the Smithsonian account of that work, they found what geologists would expect in ordinary limestone: cracks and fissures. That matters, because once a mystery hits the public imagination, every anomaly starts sounding like a door, every cavity becomes a room, and every irregularity gets promoted into proof. But rock is messy, ancient limestone is messy, and the Sphinx sits in rock that has been weathered, fractured, repaired, recut, and misunderstood for centuries. Mark Lehner was even more direct. He warned that remote sensing results do not come out of the ground labeled tunnel or chamber. They produce anomalies that must be interpreted, and those anomalies can just as easily be natural fissures, cavities, or weak zones in the limestone as anything artificial. That's one of the biggest reasons Sphinx theories survive so well online. Most people hear anomaly and imagine a sealed room. Archaeologists hear anomaly and think, we need to rule out geology first. That gap between what sounds dramatic and what counts as evidence is where entire YouTube rabbit holes are born. And yet, this is where the mystery gets its second wind. There really are passages and openings associated with the Sphinx, not fantasy ones. Real ones. Lehner noted that one passage in the northwest part of the rump was genuine, but it was not discovered by magical scanning or ancient prophecy. It was identified because someone remembered where it had been. He and Zahi Hawass explored and mapped that passage, and the conclusion was far less cinematic than the myths. It was likely a later intrusion, possibly dug by treasure hunters after the Sphinx was built. So yes, there was an actual passage. But no, it was not evidence that the monument concealed a hidden pharaonic chamber from the beginning. That difference matters more than it seems. Because once you admit there are real shafts, real openings, and real internal irregularities, the legend suddenly sounds plausible again. People hear passage in the rump and mentally upgrade it into network of secret chambers beneath the paws. But the actual expert explanation is much narrower. Some features are intrusive, some are geological, and some are restoration-related. In fact, one of the most promising anomalies near the southeast corner of the Sphinx enclosure that might have sounded in a sensational headline, like the entrance to history's greatest secret, turned out to be natural cavities and irregular interfaces in the rock. Not a buried archive, just limestone being limestone. If you're enjoying the fact that the real evidence is somehow even more interesting than the myth, hit like, because this is exactly why ancient Egypt remains so addictive. Every time the legend falls apart, the real story underneath it turns out to be deeper, more human, and way more revealing. And the deeper story became clearer through the ARCE Sphinx mapping project, which created the first comprehensive scale plans and elevations of the Sphinx and mapped the wider site. That project didn't uncover a lost chamber. What it uncovered was, in some ways, more important. The Sphinx is a scarred monument, built from stratified bedrock, severely and unevenly eroded, stabilized in multiple restoration phases, and crossed by natural fissures that were already threatening pieces of the monument in antiquity. In other words, the Sphinx looks secretive, partly because it is physically complicated. What appears mysterious from a distance often turns out, up close, to be the result of geology plus 4,000 years of decay and repair. ARCE's work showed deep recesses along softer rock layers and rounded projections where the stone was harder. It showed ancient restorers had to add extensive masonry casing to keep parts of the monument from literally separating along fissures. Lerner identified multiple ancient restoration phases by studying masonry, mortar, and tool marks. That means the Sphinx was not simply carved and left alone. It was repeatedly intervened in, patched, skinned, reinforced, and reimagined by later Egyptians who understood that preserving the monument also meant preserving whatever meaning it carried. And that brings us back to the hieroglyphs. Because once a monument becomes a symbol of divine kingship, every restoration is also a political act. So, did the hieroglyphs reveal hidden chambers beneath the Sphinx? Not in the way viral thumbnails want you to believe. They did something subtler and honestly more powerful.
They revealed that the Sphinx had become a sacred stage where buried stone, solar divinity, royal ambition, and restoration all fused together.
The inscriptions told later generations this monument could speak, reward, and choose. Once that idea existed, the leap from buried god to buried chamber was almost inevitable, and maybe that's the strangest part of all. The monument did contain something sealed inside it forever, but not necessarily a room. What the pharaohs sealed was a message that authority comes from divine favor, that restoring the ancient order gives you the right to rule the present, that monuments are not just memorials, but machines for manufacturing legitimacy. Thutmose IV didn't need the Dream Stela to tell people where a chamber was. He needed it to tell people why he belonged on the throne. The stone beneath the paws was important, but the story carved between them was far more valuable. That interpretation also explains why the Sphinx keeps attracting modern obsession. Because modern audiences still react to the monument exactly the way ancient audiences were meant to react, with awe, uncertainty, and the feeling that something larger than stone is happening here. The Sphinx is almost engineered for unresolved tension. It has a human face and an animal body. It is visible and buried, restored and ruined, familiar and unreadable. Part landscape, part sculpture, part theology. Even when archaeology answers one question, the shape of the monument creates another. And whenever one mystery closes, the desert seems to whisper that another one is still underneath. But let's go one step further, because the phrase, "what the pharaohs sealed inside forever," still deserves an honest answer. If there is no confirmed hidden royal cache under the Sphinx, then what exactly was sealed? First, access was sealed by nature itself. Sand repeatedly buried the monument, obscuring its body and preserving its mystery. Second, meaning was sealed by inscription. The dream. Stela locked the Sphinx into a royal narrative of divine selection. Third, uncertainty was sealed by the monument's own geology. Cracks, fissures, shafts, repairs, and inaccessible areas ensured that the Sphinx would never become a fully transparent object. It was always going to keep part of itself out of reach, and that is why the most durable hidden chamber beneath the Sphinx may not be physical at all. It may be psychological, a sealed chamber in the human mind where incomplete evidence, sacred language, damaged stone, and a desert horizon combine into a story we cannot stop trying to finish. We want there to be a final room because a final room means a final answer. But the archaeology of the Sphinx keeps pointing us towards something harder to accept. The monument's power comes from refusing finality. It gives us clues, not closure. So the next time you hear someone say, "Hieroglyphs revealed secret chambers under the Sphinx," listen carefully to what they mean by revealed. If they mean a literal blueprint to a hidden vault, the evidence just isn't there. If they mean the inscriptions revealed why this monument became the center of endless chamber theories, then yes, they absolutely did. They show us a buried sacred being, a king who claimed divine approval through restoration, and a monument so politically charged that people across millennia began to assume it must be hiding more than stone. And if you've ever been to Giza, studied Egyptology, or just fallen down one of those late-night Sphinx rabbit holes, I want to know the one detail that hooked you most: the Dream Stela, the buried body, the geological fissures, or the idea that the real secret was propaganda so effective it still works thousands of years later. Because propaganda is not too small a word for what happened here. We tend to use that word for modern states, modern media, modern manipulation. But ancient Egypt understood spectacle at a scale most civilizations never achieved. A colossal, lion-bodied guardian facing the rising sun, a royal complex aligned with cosmic order, a half-buried face emerging from the desert, a carved inscription declaring that this god-backed monument chose a ruler. That is not just religion. That is narrative architecture. That is statecraft in limestone. And if that was the true content sealed inside the Sphinx complex, then the pharaohs succeeded beyond anything they could have imagined, because we are still inside their story. What makes the Sphinx so different from other ancient mysteries is that the evidence doesn't kill the wonder, it refines it. The cracks and fissures are real.
The passage in the rump is real. The ancient restorations are real. The burial by sand is real. The Dream Stela is real. The divine promise to Thutmose IV is real, at least as an inscription and a political claim. And when you stack those realities together, you don't get a cheap debunk. You get a monument whose authentic history is already dramatic enough without forcing a fantasy vault into it.
If you love ancient mysteries where the evidence is just as gripping as the legend, subscribe, because there are so many stories like this where the truth isn't less cinematic than the myth, it's just hidden in a different place. So here's the final answer. The hieroglyphs did not hand us proof of a secret chamber packed with sealed pharaonic relics beneath the Sphinx. What they revealed was the mechanism by which the Sphinx itself became a chamber of power, a place where kingship, divinity, burial, restoration, and mystery were fused into one unforgettable symbol. The pharaohs may not have sealed gold or forbidden scrolls inside it forever. They sealed a narrative. A narrative strong enough to survive erosion, excavation, empire, tourism, conspiracy, and the internet. And maybe that is the greater achievement. Not that the Sphinx is hiding a room, but that it is still controlling the imagination of everyone who comes looking for one.